Chemistry video worksheet number 1 for the topic Atomic Structure, Structure of an Atom. Question number 1. Write down the symbol, nucleon number and the number of protons, neutrons and electrons in the following atoms of elements. For this question, you need to use the periodic table, which is provided to you during test and examination. Now let us look at the elements of interest here. Hydrogen, lithium, carbon, oxygen, and sodium. To find the nucleon number of hydrogen, we can refer to the periodic table. The nucleon number is essentially the relative atomic mass. For this case, it will be 1. Next, using the nucleon number and the number of protons, we can find out how many neutrons hydrogen has. To find the number of neutrons, recall the video where we mentioned the number of neutrons is equals to the nucleon number or the mass number minus the proton number. So we will apply that formula to this example. 1, which is the mass number, minus 1, the number of proton. You will get 0 for the number of neutrons of hydrogen. Since this is an atom, the number of protons will be equals to the number of electrons. So it will be 1. Next, for lithium. Lithium has a symbol of Li. Lithium has a symbol of Li. It has a nucleon number of 7. If you refer to the periodic table. Alright, and it can be derived as well because number of proton is 3, number of neutron is 4. The nucleon number is a summation of these two components. 3 plus 4 will give you 7. Alright, and number of proton is 3, implying that the number of electron is 3 as well. Carbon. Carbon has a symbol capital C. Right? 12 as a nucleon number and 6 number of proton. This implies that it has 6 neutrons. 12 minus 6, 6. And since this is an atom, the number of proton will be equal to the number of electron, which is 6. Oxygen has an atomic symbol, capital O. Its nucleon number is 16. The number of electrons is equal to the number of protons, so it's 8. Sodium has a chemical symbol Na. Common mistake by student is to write sodium as S. But if you look at the periodic table, S is actually sulfur, and sodium, which is at group 1, the first column, is Na. Right, so the number of neutron will be 23 minus 11. You get 12. Number of protons and the number of electrons are the same, which is 11. Question number 2. The diagram below shows the electronic structure of two different atoms, atom A and atom B. Here, I would highlight this word atom. Next, a good practice, given the electronic structure, would be to write down the electronic configuration, even though the question didn't ask you to do so. So the electronic configuration for atom A will be 2, 8, 2. For B, it will be 2, 8, the shell 8, and the valence shell 2. Let's look at part A. State the relative charge, relative mass, and the location of the 3 subatomic particles in the atom. For this question, you got to recall the table from the previous video. So what you can do is to write down the subatomic particles, proton, neutron, and electrons. Since they did not request for the symbol, this column can be omitted. The relative mass, will be as such. Right? Note that if you write 1 over 1840, it can be accepted as well. Relative charge, for proton be +1, neutron is 0, electron is -1. The position in the atom, proton and neutron can be found in the nucleus, while the electron are on the electron shell, just outside the nucleus. For part B, explain why an atom is electrically neutral. Here, we recall that for an atom, the number of proton is equal to the number of electron. Let us look at one example to help us answer this question. Suppose we have magnesium atom. Magnesium atom has 12 proton, 12 electron, and 24 minus 12, 12 neutron. From this example, we know that the number of proton is equal to the number of electron. Recall that proton has a charge of +1, electron has a charge of -1. So if we were to calculate the overall charge of magnesium atom, it will be 12 times +1 plus 12 times -1 plus 12 times 0. 12 proton, 12 electron, and 12 neutron. So you have 12 minus 12 plus 0 equals to 0. Another way to say why an atom is electrically neutral would be saying that the overall net charge of the atom is 0. Overall net charge is 0. So to answer this question, this will be the answer. An atom has the same number of positively charged protons and negatively charged electrons. Note that if you write the atom has the same number of proton and electron, you will get 1 mark instead of the full credit. You need to indicate that protons are positively charged and electrons are negatively charged to get the full credit. Part C. What is the atomic number of the elements A and B shown in the diagram above? Now recall, another way to say atomic number would be proton number, which tells you the number of proton. Recall, for atom, the number of proton is equal to the number of electron. So if you were to count the number of electrons of A, that will give you 12 electrons. For B, it will be 20 electrons. So what you can do here, alright, is to make the number of electrons to be the number of protons. For element A, the atomic number will be 12. For element B, the atomic number would be 20. Moving on. For part D, using the periodic table, identify elements A and B. So we will use this value, atomic number of A is 12 and atomic number of B is 20, to find out what exactly are they. So if you look at the periodic table, atomic number 12 will be magnesium. So element A is magnesium. Atomic number 20 would be calcium. Calcium would be element B. Part F. How do the electronic structures of A and B indicate that they are both in the same group of the periodic table? From the electronic structure, we can see that for A is 282. For B is 2882. Both A and B has 2 valence electrons. Recall in the previous video, we mentioned that the electronic configuration or electronic structure shows the number of valence electrons and the number of electron shell. With the number of valence electron, we can determine in the next chapter, alright, that in the chapter periodicity, if you have the same number of valence electron, it will imply that you belong to the same group in the periodic table. If you have the same number of electron shells, it will imply that you belong to the same period in the periodic table. Group is the vertical column, period would be the horizontal row. Since they have the same number of valence electrons, element A and B belong to the same group in the periodic table. Part E. Explain why the atoms of A and B have the tendency to become ions. Ions are charged particles formed by the losing or gaining of electrons of the atoms. Here, we can see that for element A, atom A, they have 2 valence electrons. For B, it has 2 valence electrons as well. So for both element A and B, the atoms have two valence electrons, and this would not be stable as it is not the maximum number for their respective shell. So why? Why do they have the tendency to form ions? An atom is stable if it has the maximum number of electrons in the valence shell. Hence, for A and B, they will lose two valence electrons to achieve this stable configuration of a noble gas. Noble gas can be found in group 0, the extreme right column of your periodic table. The elements there would have the maximum number of electrons on their respective valence shell, hence making them stable.